This podcast is produced by Calm Hope. Hello, my name is Sam Turnbow. In this podcast, I'd like to cover several interesting things about funeral statistics. I know this sounds morbid and boring, but as a person that is looking to navigate through the year of 2021, and for those people that have lost a family member or loved one due to coronavirus in 2020, I think you'll appreciate knowing a few things. Also, I'd like to share some information that I found out through hours of research and my own experience, not only as a minister, but also as a funeral director for the past 20 years. And lastly, I want to tell you about an organization right here in Oklahoma City that can actually help families through the journey when facing a death. Now, I want you to know that Calm Hope would be there for you through the beginning all the way through the end. Now, if you like this podcast, I ask that you just subscribe to the channel. Thank you. Traditional funeral service versus cremation. A recent report by an insurance firm found that 44% of all Americans plan on being cremated. That is a 40% increase since the 1960s. Traditional funeral services with casket and burial were the second most popular choice, with 35% of Americans preferring that method. According to a report published by the NFDA in July 2019 on cremation and burials, says that in 2020 the projected burial rate is 37.5%. That's actually down 7.7% from 2015. And projected cremation rate is at 56%. That's up 8.1% from 2015. In January 2020, the NFDA projected that more than half of all Americans who die will prefer to be cremated. In 20 years, the association predicts that nearly 80% of all who die will have chosen cremation. Because of the coronavirus, it is now projected to increase more for cremation. This is due to several factors, one being cities and states limiting gatherings because of the coronavirus. Another factor is that choosing cremation is less cost than a traditional funeral service, and religious organizations have loosened their restrictions. For traditional casket and burial services, the cost in Oklahoma City can range anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000, and I have seen some as much as $20,000. And the cost of a funeral continues to increase. This includes caskets, urns, funeral home costs, their personnel costs to help out for the funerals, and even burial plots at a cemetery. Some families prefer to be cremated and then have a memorial service through live streaming, or just wait until a safer time to have the funeral service. As cremation has replaced traditional funeral services in America, people are getting creative with the way they honor their loved ones. And do not think that the funeral business hasn't noticed this. Funeral homes and the funeral directors are constantly looking for ways to make more money from the families they serve. But there is good news. The law of Oklahoma states that in cremation, that is considered to be what they call final disposition. And because of that, you do not have to use a funeral director for any services. You can ask for family members or friends to help you with the funeral service, and believe it or not, they would love to do that. And you don't have to spend a fortune through the funeral home. Funeral home and merchandise cost. While every funeral home has different prices on their services they offer, I found that on the average, they increased for a traditional service of 6.4% over the last few years, and for cremation, 7.3% over the last few years. I've gone to about 20 different funeral homes in the Oklahoma City metropolitan area and asked for their general price list, or what they call the GPL. By Oklahoma law, the funeral homes must give you their GPL. I looked at the funeral home's casket and prices. On the average, I found that the funeral home will increase the cost of a casket as much as 300%. Every funeral home has on their GPL a area called non-negotiable or non-declinable basic services for funeral directors and staff and overhead. Prices for these ranged anywhere from $700 to $3,500. The cost of the use of a vehicle at the funeral home, including a hearse, a family car, a flower car, ranged anywhere from $250 to $600. And they charge mileage if you're traveling for a certain amount of miles over where the service has been to the cemetery. Now, this is really no surprise. Most cemeteries require an out-of-burial container or a vault to place the casket in. The funeral homes call the vault company, and they let them know all the details about the funeral and the burial. And if they request a tent or chairs, the vault company most of the time, and sometimes the cemetery, will provide tent and chairs for the place of the burial. Are you ready? While the vault company charges one price to the funeral home charges more to the family. And for what? Making a call. The difference in the vault company's price and the funeral home's price is a big difference. And as you being a family member, guess who pays for it? You do. If you're having your loved one embalmed, the funeral home charges a high price, while they might use an embalming mortuary company for the embalming. They may be paying one price when you are paying upwards of 3 times the price that the funeral home paid the embalming company. What I'm trying to say is almost all of the funeral home services and merchandise or third-party services from the funeral home that you see on your contract is thousands of dollars more than what you could get it for other places. So you can negotiate, you can't negotiate the basic services that they offer, but you can negotiate the inflated prices on other services and merchandise from other companies. Now, I'm not opposed for funeral homes making money. That's not what I'm trying to say at all, so don't get me wrong. Some of the basic services are well worth letting the funeral home do on their own or help you out. But if I could save you money on things like caskets, vehicles, vaults, flowers, and yes, even the funeral home staff, your answer would probably be yes, because I could save you thousands of dollars. Now here's where it comes in. Calm Hope is a nonprofit organization dedicated to helping people through difficult times in life. One of the most difficult times is when someone has passed away and the family needs help. Or maybe they know that the family member is going to be passing away and they could use the help now just to figure out what they need to do next. Besides working with families, when they find out that someone has passed away, Calm Hope will be there to help prepare for the inevitable and walk the family through all the details when it comes to death. All Calm Hope services are free and paid for through the wonderful donors we have. I will have another video and podcast about the process very soon. This podcast is about saving money on the funeral merchandise. Calm Hope has researched all of the ways that you can save money to keep the cost of a funeral down. I put all the links below if you'd like to take a look at them. Please check them out. Calm Hope is available to help families and assist them in the greater Oklahoma City metropolitan area. For more about Calm Hope, visit our website at www.calmhope.org. Thank you.